In today's video, we're going to be talking about habits that destroy wealth. Hi, I'm Zohaib Haroon. I'm a licensed chartered professional accountant. And in today's video, we're going to be exploring some habits. We're going to be exploring 5 points that I think contribute towards destroying wealth. Let's get to it. Point number 1, deficit spending. We often at times see people spending out of a credit card and out of a loan, and whatever money that they should be budgeting to save, they basically don't have budgets, and because of which they a lot of the times are spending out of credit cards and lines of credit or other types of loan. And usually credit card rate is at 22%, and you know what, a lot of other loans are usually at 3, 4, 5, 6%, 7, 8%. And a lot of the disposable income gets depleted through deficit spending. So this is a very important point that one must avoid. That is, to better budget your finances and to avoid deficit spending. Point number 2. This is a continuation of point number 1, where you should be keeping some type of a weekly tracker, a monthly tracker, some type of an Excel spreadsheet. There are a lot of applications available online that you can use to basically track all your finances, all your revenues, and what that allows you to do is to basically visualize and see how much money came in, how much money went out, and how should you better, utilize these tools to, avoid sinking in a state of debt, or basically having to borrow money only to have it, only for you to pay it back with interest. Point number 3, consumerism. This is something which we're all guilty of. At least 80% of, disposable wealth usually goes towards consumerism, and usually it's items that people buy which they don't need. They're following trends. Maybe this could be fashion, or this could be items of, let's say, luxury, such as certain types of cars, or other items as such that do not basically grow your wealth, but technically you have consumed that wealth and very little to no value comes right back out your way. What you want to do is you want to basically, try to invest in assets that bring you wealth, as opposed to take wealth out of your pocket. Example of such could be maybe starting a business, could be buying real estate, could be buying gold and silver. So these would be just some of the examples of ideas that you can use to multiply your wealth, as opposed to consuming that wealth and basically trying to create multiple sources of income for yourselves, so you never have to rely on deficit spending in terms of having to borrow money, because ultimately that normally a lot of times starts a snowball effect, and next thing you see is that once you've taken debt on, you're accumulating compound interest on top, and that wealth of yours is shrinking because it's basically being cannibalized with against like loans. Loans are basically, and all the interest all the payments that you're making, it's taking dollars out of your pocket. So avoid this one. Next one. This one also ties into the last point which we mentioned. It's about taking on too much consumer debt. So usually what happens, this snowball effect that you've basically taken on, now basically what happens is that you are seeing that your debt slowly rise, and as you notice that the amount of income that you're earning is just going all towards servicing that debt. So what you want to do is you want to avoid frivolous spending. What you want to do is you want to avoid spending, and you want to budget in such a way where you have to set parameters for your spending. Like, you have to look at your needs, and then you have to limit your wants, because wants, there's no ceiling. You can just basically keep spending money on items that you don't need. Buy a luxury car, next thing you see, that luxury car, you have to get insurance, there is monthly payments, there is maintenance. So these added expenses alone, they do not add any value. And in this day and age, people, they find themselves slowly sinking, and they see their debts rising, and then they see their equity shrinking. And I guess, in some form or another, we all know someone who's, in this trap. So we have to avoid this trap by any means necessary. Next point is point number 5 is FOMO and investing in poor investments. So a lot of times your relatives or your friends or just even looking online, they will loosely present you with an opportunity that sounds too good to be true, because it usually is not true. And a lot of times people, they find themselves in situations where they are, they in the beginning, they look at an investment and then they see that, they're trying to, double their money or triple their money in terms of a get rich quick scheme. And ultimately what happens? They basically put their money into something, and ultimately what happens, that their money not only becomes, locked away somewhere, then they also find they might be making recurring payments, and next thing you see, they've caught themselves onto a trap. So there you have it. These are the 5 points that we wanted to discuss in this video that destroy wealth. And tune into our next video for more advice and more financial advice. And we always encourage you to consult with a professional that can basically better guide you in terms of making financial decisions. And this video is just there for educational purposes. So we'll see you on the next one.